So you're on a tight budget and you still think you cannot afford to go to Disneyland? I'll show you how that myth is wrong and can prove that you can still go to Disneyland right now. What is up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of D3. In this episode, we're going to talk about how you can still enjoy the magic of Disneyland on a budget in 2020. First, as usual, I would like to thank you all for your continued support of this channel. Remember, if you like what you see, go ahead and click that subscribe button below and become a member of the D3 family. Alright everyone, I believe I covered this topic, I think about a year or so ago or something like that. I talked about how to do Disneyland on a budget. You can check one of my videos. I try to put up a link for you guys up there so you can go review that video from last year. But what I wanted to do for this year, I should say what I wanted to do for the 2020 year, was give you guys an update on this topic on how to do Disneyland on a budget. I'll probably touch on a couple of things I touched on last year. It'll give you a little updated version of that. Sorry if I might be repeating myself, but I thought it'll still be valid for the year 2020 going forward. So also, I will probably give you guys a couple of more tips on how to do Disneyland on a budget, especially for you locals out there, to help enhance your experience, without breaking the bank. So with that being said, folks, let's get this party started. All right, everyone, my first tip for you guys for the year 2020, especially for all of you guys who live in the Southern California area, my first tip for you guys is to think about investing in a new Disney Flex Pass. I believe I covered this topic a couple of months ago, comparing the Flex Pass with all the other passes. It's a very good deal for everyone, especially if you're on a budget. Now, I believe the Flex Pass start off, I believe, at $38 a month, because you can pay it on a monthly basis if you're a Southern California resident. Very good value, like I said. But the more you put down, the lower your payments are. So, like I said, the only thing is, you just have to pick your dates on the date you want to go to Disneyland. That's the only setback. But other than that, if you're a big Disney fan like myself, but you have limited funds, I believe the Flex Pass is a way to go. So again, my first tip for you guys is to invest in the Flex Pass. Alright everyone, my next tip is for everybody who is not in the Southern California area, who pretty much live either on the other side of the country or in a different country, or if you live in the Southern California area too, but you don't want a Disney Pass. My next tip for you guys is to think about going to Disneyland during the off season. Now, when I say the off season, that typically means the months January through March. Now, during this time of off season, keep in mind that many of the attractions are under refurbishment during this time period. So there's a good chance you're going to get on all the attractions you want. But yet still, you'll be able to go to Disneyland at a cheaper rate. Also think about, probably throughout the year, if it's past March, think about going to Disneyland during the non-peak days. Now that's going to be a little bit difficult now, once the Rise of the Resistance attraction opens up later in January, or I would say probably in the summertime after the Adventures Campus opens up at California Adventure. Those low peak days might not exist anymore, but let's go for right now. Those non-peak days are typically earlier in the week. I would say like Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So those are traditionally the non-peak days. But after Wednesday through the weekend, that's out the window. So that's like our peak days now. So again, my next tip for you guys, my second tip for you guys, is to try to go to Disneyland during an off season or during non-peak days. Alright everyone, my third tip for you guys, especially if you guys are not from the Southern California area and you visiting Disneyland from other states and things like that, my third tip for you guys is to not stay on Disney property at one of the hotels, but stay at one of the adjacent Good Neighbor hotels, which is like right across the street from the Disneyland Resort. There are a number of good, reasonable, clean hotels over there at a much decent rate, cheaper rate I should say. And it's within walking distance of the park. As compared to Orlando, where you need like a bus or car to get around. Here in California at Disneyland, you can just walk within minutes from your hotel to the park and stay at a fraction of the cost as you would stay at on property at a Disneyland hotel. And don't think that you're not going to get the same Disney experience, but since these are good neighborhood hotels, they still typically have, Disney themed rooms and things like that. It's just like you staying on property, on a Disney property, but it's off property, And another thing, if you're if you're a member of I would say Marriott or Hilton Honors Program, or if you're a part of AAA, ask that hotel if they honor those rates or give you special rates for that. You can save additional for the price of staying at the hotel like that as well. So again, folks, my third tip for you guys is to stay off property at a good neighbor hotel. All right, everyone, on to tip number 4. I believe I used this tip the last time I covered this topic about a year ago. Tip number 4, you guys, is to bring your own food. Yes, you can bring your own food into Disneyland, as long as it's not alcohol or anything in glass or anything like that. You can bring sandwiches, chips, snacks, especially if you have families and things like that. This is really helpful. It'll save you a lot of money, at the concession and things like that at the restaurants. You can still get your snacks, you can treat yourself, but trust me, if you bring your own food, it'll save you a ton of money. Plus, if you bring your own food, they have a picnic area outside of the park. Just, take a break from the park, have your lunch or your dinner if you want to. Or over on Tom Sawyer Island over in Frontierland, you take a little raft over to the island, and there's a little picnic area over there. You can have relax, have your snacks, and just chill for a little bit, for an hour or two, and just enjoy a good rest from the day. So again, folks, tip number 4 is that you can bring your own food in the park, but make sure you have it in a nice backpack. All right, everyone, I believe I covered tip number 5 for you guys last year as well. Tip number 5 is a huge one. Tip number 5 is to please, please, please bring your own bottled water. Yes, do not purchase any bottled water inside of Disneyland. It's highway robbery. I mean, water costs about $5 a bottle, which is ridiculous. You can go outside to a convenience store and get a same size, 20-ounce bottle of water, 30-ounce bottle of water for a fraction of the cost. I think it's $1 or something like that. You can go up the street to a supermarket or something like that. So tip number 5 is bring your own bottled water. Also, if you run out of your water, you can go to one of the quick service restaurants and ask a cast member to give you a nice cold cup of water, even with ice in it. So, hey, you don't have to worry about wasting your money, extra money, on getting water at Disneyland. So again, tip number 5 is to bring your own bottled water. All right, everyone, now on to tip number 6. Now, mind you, this tip might be a little bit controversial, especially for you diehard Disney fans out there. So you might say this is a little bit too cheap, but hey, if you want to still go to Disneyland on a budget, it's worth doing it. So tip number 6 is try to avoid using the Max Pass. Now, instead of using the Max Pass, use the traditional Disney Fast Pass for your rides if you want to use a Fast Pass instead of using the Max Pass. Now, the Max Pass, although it's more convenient, it's $10 a day per person. So with the Max Pass, I think I covered this in another video as well. The Max Pass is used where you pretty much select your fast passes from your phone, cell phone, and things like that without going to the actual kiosk. Now, if you go to the traditional route and get another fast pass the old school way, you have to walk to each of the kiosks in front of the attraction. Now, mind you, this might be a little bit more exercise for you, but hey, you're saving yourself an extra $10 for yourself or per person. You might be looking at saving between maybe $10 and $100. Depends on how many people you're going with. So again, tip number 6, even though it's not really popular, is to try to skip the Max Pass feature and just go and try to go for your get your Fast Pass through the traditional way, through the kiosk in front of the attraction. All right, everyone. Tip number 7 is really practical, but it's very cool. Tip number 7 for you guys is to get a free souvenir. Yes, Disneyland has some free, really good souvenirs. It could be as simple as a pen, or they have maps on certain attractions. I'm gonna do a special video for you guys on all the free souvenirs you can get at Disneyland pretty soon. So be on the lookout for that. So you get, like I said, you get a free map, Hey, the best free souvenir of everything is, guess what? An autograph from one of your favorite cast members, especially Mickey Mouse, or Minnie Mouse, or Goofy. I love all of them. So, my tip for you guys is take advantage and get a nice free souvenir. Alright everyone, I believe tip number 8 is going to be my final tip for you guys for today, at least for this episode. Tip number 8 for you guys is to purchase all of your Disney t-shirts and things like that. If you're a huge Disney fan like myself, I love to wear Disney t-shirts to the park. So tip number 8 is to purchase all your Disney t-shirts outside of the park. When I mean this, I say purchase them outside of the park. I mean purchase them like at a Target store, or you can purchase them at Walmart, or they have a lot of Disney outlet stores around there, maybe one in your area. So it'll save you a ton of money. I'll give you an example. A couple of my t-shirts I bought like at Target, they cost like about $10 to $15, as compared if I got them at Disneyland, it could be about $30 or $40. Big difference right there. So again, my final tip for you guys, tip number 8, if you're a huge Disney fan like myself, is to purchase all your Disney t-shirts outside of the park. Well folks, there you have it. Those are my tips on how to do Disneyland on a budget in 2020. I really hope these tips were really helpful for you guys, or they might be a refresher for you guys if you remember my topic when I covered this topic last year. I really hope you guys are able to come out to Disneyland in 2020. There's a lot of exciting things going on, folks, you know what I mean? Adventures Campus and all that good stuff. And of course, Galaxy's Edge. With that being said, folks, this concludes this episode of D3. Thanks again for watching. As usual, feel free to leave a comment below. And also, if you haven't already done so, feel free to subscribe to this channel. And also remember to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and also on Twitter. See you guys in the park.